Hello and welcome to the show. This is Stevicus Maximus. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Pcsxr Reloaded emulator, also known as Pcsxr. You may have gotten the compressed zip that compressed zip file. I sent you in a link. If you've decompressed it and put it in its own folder, you can see that there is a executable called Pcsxr itself. Let's open that up. Now that we are inside the emulator itself, let's try to go over some of the options and see how this thing actually works. So let's click on configurations. You can use these options, but sometimes it's better to just go into plugins and BIOS since all the options is here anyway. You got your graphics, sound, first controller, second controller, the CD-ROM emulation so that you can actually put real PlayStation discs, and the link cable option, which I'm not actually sure how you use. My friend who actually made a program that uses this technology here would be better explaining this. And then you have the BIOS that you want to use, which usually SCPH 1000, which is the BIOS image, is pretty much a modded or a dev unit that can use copied discs and stuff like that. So let's open up the graphics and let's choose Pete's OpenGL driver 9.2. This is the one that you're going to be wanting to use, and we'll click on configure. And I've been playing a lot of GDarius, and GDarius uses a resolution of 320 by 240, and I scale it up to 4, and that usually equals up to 1708 by 960. And if you guys seen what I was talking about, the Dreamcast, yeah, it's like, the widescreen Dreamcast thing by like 2 times. But we're talking about a PlayStation. This thing wasn't a Dreamcast. So now that I've shown you that we want to go down to where it says the internal X resolution, the internal Y resolution. Now you can put these at very high or just high or ultra high, and this will actually determine how good the image will look. As you've seen on a regular PlayStation, usually the graphics can be blocky and kind of mucky, and that's because usually the graphics were drawn at much higher images than they could actually fit on the PlayStation, so they were scaled down and they don't look very nice. So when you use this option right here, these two options, you can actually use the real image that was shown in a PlayStation. I think the PlayStation's it could never reach this. There's no way because it wasn't that powerful. But I believe the PlayStation's highest resolution was 1280 by 1024. So even though the horizontal isn't going to exactly be um, correct, the height will, and it doesn't help to have them both the way that they should be. And that's why if you see the X resolution is the horizontal, it only goes up to very high, but the eternal Y resolution goes up to ultra high. So when you get into here, you have a rendering mode, which is pbuffer to copy to texture, supported by most cards. You want to use this. This is going to give you the best picture and resolution and stuff like that. And this option right there, stretching mode. Most of the time, if you're going to be using 2D games, um, or games that will only use a 4:3 aspect ratio, the best thing to do is to keep aspect ratio and stretch on small heights. This will make sure that you always get the image that you would get on a regular TV without cropping and stuff like that. And you'll get that 4:3 image you want and stuff. And we also have the stretch to full window mode, and this is really what you want to use for the 16:9 hack, which I'm going to get into later, which is really cool. You have a bunch of other options here, like texture filtering. Like, for instance, you can have a standard without sprites, which means that the 2D images don't get filtered, but the 3D does. And that's probably the best thing to do right here if you use this option, because if you do filter the sprites, you usually get corrupt graphics and stuff like that, and it's really just not worth it. And especially if you do what I do and you scale the image up correctly, there's no reason for you actually to do the sprites that way. Now, this you don't have to worry about. Graphics card VRAM, just set that to auto detect. The best thing that I would say for a PlayStation frames per second limit is to actually do this. Use frames per second limit and then FPS limit 59.40 because the PlayStation really never did an exact 60 hertz. So if you make it do over 60 frames per second, it gets really weird. So the best thing to do is put it like a medium right before 59 and 60, and that will make sure that you don't get a lot of you know lag and garbage of just stuttering. You don't want any of that. All right, now you want off-screen drawing extended? Yes, you do. I never seen garbage, and this actually helps with the widescreen mode. So leave that on. Frame buffer effects. Full emulates everything, causes overround slowdown. I'm pretty sure that we all have really fast multi-cores and graphics cards, so definitely want to leave that on. Frame buffer upload, full uploads, full VRAM, can be slow. Use only if screens were missing. Again, we're not using um, Pentium 4 Celeron with one core and, you know, at like 2.2 gigahertz. Like we all got like really mean machines nowadays. Even laptops are better than that. So don't even worry about that. Just push that thing all the way. Down here is a shader effect. Now these are pretty neat. Um, if you have, if you go into this one right here, SLV to, I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. I'm just joking. But if you go here to shaders, you'll see that I have shader packs right here, and these are all really nice. Probably the nicest one that I've ever seen is my MU France, where it is the 5-time XBR. It's very excellent. It's probably the best shader that I've ever seen, and it's definitely way better than the texture filtering you can get from this option right here. And what it does is, I actually don't like filtering, but if you're a person that likes things to look like they're HD, definitely go with the 5 times XBR and then set it on more. But I'm going to tell you right now, it takes a lot of CPU processing and a lot of GPU processing. So depending on how powerful your card is, you are going to have to um, might have to upgrade or something like that if it doesn't work. So click on that that box right here where the arrow is, and we can go into C, games, MU. Where's Pcsxr? Shaders. Go to shaders. MU France. The one that I want is 5-time XPR right here. The latest one, and then click on that, and then press OK, and it will set you up with that shader. And don't worry about it. I've already put the shader pack in here, so you'll be good. One of the things you probably might want to do also was check MDEC filter. Movies will look less pixelated because pretty sure nobody wants to watch a movie at 320 by 240. Okay, well, moving on. I've been telling everybody here, PlayStation has different resolutions. Sometimes it's 320 by 240. Sometimes it's 256 by 240 in game, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And the game that we're gonna test right here is called Spyro the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, like I saw in the YouTube video I posted over at Legendary Fighters. Um, so let's go to G5DX and let's configure that. I've already got it pretty much set up for you guys. You can leave it like that. But this is the best way to find out the true resolution of your PlayStation games. And let's click OK. Let's go to OK. Let's go to File. I'm not writing it off a CD. I'm running it off of ISO. So let's go to Spyro the Dragon. It doesn't matter if you use the Q or whatever. Usually I just use the bin image or the biggest. It will be the biggest file, Spyro. Like, look at this. It says almost 600 megabytes. So you know that's the real CD file. So just pick that. Okay, so as you see here, 512 by 240. Because it does actually help. You need a really bad computer. So does it actually do? Pretty impressive for a PlayStation game. So okay, let's open this back up and let's go to plugins. And you see the first controller and the second controller right here. These are Pokemon input pad plugins. I've got controller 1 on X input 1, and I've got controller 2 on X input 2, so you don't have to worry about this. Usually this is going to give you the exact coordinates on your Xbox pad or whatever pad that you have that the original PlayStation uses, so you don't even have to really worry about that. One of the things that I also want to go over is the Pcsxr CDR drive. What you really want to do is put your own PlayStation disc into the computer first, and then I don't have one on me to test at the moment. So but pick the ASCII chord or ASPI SCSI commands. Please select the CD drive. I believe my not virtual drive was D maybe. Okay. Read drive, and you want it to try to auto tech, and of course it's not going to do it. But usually if you just do it like that, it'll work and it won't crash. What else should I go over? I think I pretty much hit it in the butt right there. What else you should do is if you want the widescreen method, which I probably think that you've all been like trying to hear me talk about, you go to the configuration, of course, and you go to CPU, and you go down, and you'll see it right there. It says widescreen GTE hack, and that will give you your widescreen effect. I hope this helped. I hope everybody. And oh no, I'm not done yet. That's right. So another thing, if you don't know how to actually make your own, you actually don't know how to make your own custom resolutions and stuff like that. If you're using an NVIDIA card, the best way to do this is actually to first get a calculator or do it in your head. So if you got 512 by times 4 equals 2048. Some of us can't do this kind of resolutions, so try to keep it at like an interval 2, 3, or whatever your monitor can do. I can pretty much do between like 1080p and 4K, so I'm pretty alright with that. And of course, 240 times 4 is 960, and you can go to your NVIDIA um, um, control panel, change resolution, go to customize resolution. Of course, you want it to be progressive. Refresh rate, you can change that too, depending on your TV. And then type in, 2048 or and 960 right here. Put it in test. It will say, this works. Do you want to use this resolution at some point? And you say yes. And then once you've got that configured, like you see here, I've got 3072 by 1792. It gets pretty crazy on this set that I got here. But after you do that, you can go into your OpenGL. This is the wrong OpenGL one. Here's the right one. You can go into your OpenGL and you can put in the resolution that you want. That will make sure that you don't have too many artifacts or smushing or enlarging or widening of the sprites that make them all look nasty and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that's the best way to use this emulator. I guess I can say it now. Thank you for watching the show. I wish I had made a better show, but I was just trying to do a quick tutorial for my friend. So you'll have a nice day, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.